Hello, this is Shakil Ahmed. In this tutorial, we will discuss about using functions in Shiny app. Basically, the use of different functions uh, may reduce your codes in terms of lengthy codes for different type of calculations or different types of visualizations. You need to write a lot of codes, and whenever there comes certain errors within this code, it becomes difficult to debug the code within your uh, Shiny app. So you need to define the functions for different functions. You need to introduce different functions, and you can just give the input to those functions, and you can use those functions, or even you can create different packages, and you can later use those packages within your Shiny app, and that will do the task with simplest number of codes or number of the length of the codes will be reduced, and the functions will allow you to separate out your app code across multiple files. Instead of keeping a single large file, you can use multiple smaller files with different functions or different packages. And in UI, pulling out repeated codes into a function reduce duplications. Instead of duplicating a code many times and writing the different inputs in those codes, you can just use a single file and a single function, and then you can give input for the input to that function. So it will make your task simpler. And you can do the same thing in the server function, where while creating the outputs, and you may create your own package using multiple functions later, and you can call in Shiny with simpler commands. So here is a simple example of slider input. Slider input, you already know about the slider input. That is just like a scale where we can select different numbers, uh, a number within a range. So here we are creating four different slider inputs with labels: A label, B label, C label, and D label, and these are the identities of those inputs, and these are the maximum and minimum values, and this is the value already selected, and this is the steps. And you are making four different types of slider input. Even you can make five, or how many number of inputs you need. You can just copy these, and it will just enlarge, it will uh, increase the size of the codes and the size of the files you are using, so you can make a simpler code instead of multiple type of codes. So first we just run this code, how it will display the outputs. I'm just copying here, after removing my previous. And if you want to see, you need to write a server function, input and output. And render text, and you can write something. I don't know whether it's work or not, but I just want to display the different type of inputs here. You need to stop the previous one and you can just run. These are your inputs, and you can change the different type of inputs. You can whatever you want to adjust, your users want to adjust. So these are the lengthy codes you are making, 4-line codes. And even if when you have multiple number of inputs, you need to copy them, and you can change the values here, the input ID and the input label. But instead of this, we can just make a simpler one using the using a function of slider input. So we can just minimize these slider input in a single slider input using the functions. And I'm creating a my slider input that consists of a function where input ID and input label, and then I'm just writing a single quote instead of 4 time quotes, and we can just later use this function and give the input of your choice. For example, this is within the UI float row. I'm using this function, but basically I have already created this function outside my UI. So let's see how this works. You can just copy it here, and you can use the UI with the functions you have created within the float row. Now you can just run your package. Basically, this is the functions. This is the function I have created, which needs 2 type of inputs: the ID and the label for the ID. So in this way, you can just we are just shortening your codes, and you will it will be easy to get any error. If you have commit any error, you can just check with your function, and if your function is properly working, then you just need to change these two inputs. And I'm just copying this. Sorry, I'm just we need to just run this. First close the previous one and then run this one. So this is again producing the same options for our input, and you can change the user can change different options on the slider input. These are 4 slider inputs, and you can add more inputs using just adding this command. For example, if you want to add another one, you can just add. And this is E, for example, and the label of E. And you can just close it and you can run it. So you don't need to write the details for this. You just need to change the inputs, and you can run the uh, additional slider input within your package. So that's all about using the functions. You can use the functions in your output as well to render different type of outputs. Basically, you are just running a function, and you can keep that function in a separate file, and you can call that in within your Shiny app, or even you can uh, make your own package, and you can later use that package after saving it to GitHub. That will be an interactive platform. Multiple authors can do the changes at the same time, and you can access it using the. So you can add different types of functions for your outputs in the server function as well. Thank you for watching the video, and if you have any question, you can always write in the comments. Thank you.